Hi everyone, today I'd like to talk about a makeup blender and Konjac sponge set. I was able to purchase this at a discounted price for leaving my honest opinion and review and for review and testing purposes. So this is actually the box. This is the first time I've ever used a set like this, so it was kind of fun. And as you can see, the cream colored sponge is actually the Konjac sponge, and then you end up with the pink blending brush. And the Konjac sponge you can use alone, or you can actually use it with I guess like an exfoliant. I used it by itself just to try it out, and it worked really well. So this was my before picture, and as you can see, it was just pretty straightforward and pretty basic. Um, I really did like the product. I've never used a blending sponge before, so it is a little bit of a learning process, but I really did like it, and I really do think it did a really good job. So this was actually just the test that I took to show you how to use the Konjac sponge. The Konjac sponge is dry when it arrives. So what you do is you have to wet it enough to where it's pliable. And it takes a few seconds for all the water to soak in. And again, according to the directions, you can use it with a facial cleanser or alone. I actually just used it alone because I wanted to see what it felt like and to make sure that I didn't have any facial irritation. It was actually really nice. It was very cooling to the skin, and it was very easy to use, very straightforward. It's just a basic sponge. And it didn't cause any skin irritation. So there it is when it's all puffed up with water, and it didn't cause any skin irritation for me, and it was very soothing to my skin, and it didn't really dry out my face either. But as I said, I just used it with water without any cleanser because I just wanted to see how it works. So this is like a two-step process according to the box, because the box gives you directions. So what you do is you use the sponge first, and then you rinse your face and you dry your face, and then you go ahead and you use the blending sponge for when you put on your makeup. So that was kind of fun for me. I really did enjoy it, and I really did think it did a fairly good job, as we'll see in a little while. So again, this is just more of using the Konjac sponge. The Konjac sponge has a little hanging like little loop, so that's what that little piece of string is. And it also comes with a little suction cup, so you can hang it somewhere so it air dries. You're supposed to let everything air dry according to the directions on the box, again, from the manufacturer. So this was, again, just to show you what the sponge looks like. And it you can use it for so many uses, and then I think it's compostable. You can compost it, or it's biodegradable. You have to check the box to be sure, because I don't remember right now off the top of my head. So again, it was just pretty basic, and then I just washed the sponge and I let it air dry. So after this, I washed my face and I dried my face, and then I went ahead and I started with, I put on concealer first, and then I went ahead and eventually, as we'll see right now, I put on, as you can see, I had a little concealer here and there because I have a couple breakouts, so I was trying to use that. And then I went ahead and I put on my foundation, and according to the directions, you're supposed to put the foundation on the back of your hand or on a flat surface. So I just used the back of my hand. And you have to wet the sponge. You have to wet it and completely press all the water out of it so it's moist. And it worked really well. I really did like it. A little bit of makeup does go a long way because the sponge does pick up a lot of foundation. So I think that's kind of a learning process I'm going to have to learn as I go. But all in all, it worked really well. It really did contour to my face well, as you'll see, and it was very pliable and very easy to use. So as you can see, I think I might have put a little too much foundation on there, but it's a learning process. And then according to the directions, again, you're supposed to steeple it. I just kind of blotted it on my face, as you can see, and it really did blend well, and it really did coat my skin very well. And I also noticed that it didn't seem to um, oh, it really didn't seem to clog my pores either. So it just pretty much it layered the foundation on my skin, and it really did look smooth, and it looked okay. I was happy with it. So again, this was just kind of a walkthrough of putting on the makeup with the blending sponge. I really did like the sponge though, because it is very soft to the touch, and it is pliable, and it contours really well, especially to like under your eyes and around your nose, and you don't end up with big streaks as you can sometimes when you're trying to blend it yourself with your fingers, because I'm not really very good at blending in terms of my makeup, so this is going to be a really big help. and it did glide well, and it really did do a great job. I did have a couple of little patches that I might have missed, so this is what this is all about, just kind of picking, just trying to find any uneven sections. But all in all, it really did cover my skin really well, and it really um, applied the foundation with great ease, which was great. And so it really did work really well. I know I sound like a broken record, but I was really happy with it. So, and it really did do a great job. So, what you're supposed to do is when you blend it with the wider end, and then I'm assuming with the smaller end, eventually you can use it for other hard to reach spots or other parts of your face that you think need a little bit more of a definition. So, I really did like that it did blend my concealer and my foundation really well, especially under my eyes, because I tend to have that problem where either one of my eyes is really, really light and the other one's really dark because I have dark circles sometimes, or I end up with half and half where it looks fairly covered, but it's not quite 100%. So I think it did a decent job. So after all of this, what I did was I actually put on my face like I normally would. So I went ahead and I put on my powdered foundation, and then I went ahead and did the rest of my makeup like normal, and we'll see the end result in a couple seconds. So as you can see, it really did do a pretty decent job. I didn't think it was too bad. And I really noticed too that I didn't end up with uneven blending either, which was great. And then this was just to show you how to wash the sponge. What I did notice is that I guess you're going to have to wash it in like lukewarm water, because I used water that was a little too warm and the color started to come off the sponge. But according to the directions, you can use a mild soap and olive oil to make sure that you get all the makeup off. What I did was I just used a little bit of unscented Castile soap, and it pretty much worked, but I think I might have to soak the sponge a little bit to make sure that I got all the foundation out of the sponge. But it really did work really well, and it washed well too. And so it worked. I was happy with it. And then this again, as you can see, the foundation kind of sits at the bottom of the sponge a little bit, so you may have to soak it a little bit in just a little mild soap, and according to the directions, olive oil, and maybe that'll get out the last of the makeup that sits in the sponge. But for just a basic cleaning, it worked really good. I used Castile soap. And all in all, it cleaned up pretty good. I really couldn't complain. And then you just leave it to air dry according to the directions. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning process, but it really did work really well, and I was very happy with it. And then again, this was just a little more Castile soap that I put on there to show you that it does that the soap did soak into the sponge, and that it is foaming up a little bit to show you maybe if to see if I could get more of the makeup off. And basically that was pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And as you can see there, that's why I had mentioned that the sponge kind of started to discolorate a little bit. I think I might have used water that was a little too warm. But all in all, it worked well. So this was my end result after I just put on the foundation without any other makeup on. So as you can see, it did a pretty good job at blending. It didn't seem to, I didn't look too bad, I didn't think. And then finally after this, I went ahead, as I said, and I put on my full makeup, and I think it did a really good job. And I really did like it. So if you're looking for something like this, please check them out, and thank you for watching.